Just a reminder, everyone, of the disclaimer. So anything we talk about today is for educational, entertainment, and information purposes only. Morning, everybody. So market's a little bit shaky yesterday, and the JPM collar is on everyone's minds. I put out video number 1 on how the collar works, how it and gave you some teases as to how it starts to affect markets, depending on where we are on the market and how close we are to expiry. Now, I wanted to mention this morning that it is, before yesterday, after the rally, we probably had this short strike that the dealers are short down around 55.65 at 55.65. That ends up being a very, very low delta, right? So if a dealer is short those puts, they aren't going to be really short too many futures against that. So we had a little bit of a Vanna effect, slight charm as we rallied towards the highs that we saw, and that meant that there were sort of futures to buy as the delta drops on those puts. What happens now is that if we start to head towards that strike, the delta is going to pick up on those short puts for the dealers. So they have to start selling more futures, right? So they need to delta hedge this position, because if it becomes a threat to them, it's going to cost them a lot of money if we start firing through 55.65. So they need to hedge themselves by selling futures. So again, this isn't the most fun. I did this for a long time. This isn't the funnest position to be in, where you have to sell into sell-offs and you have to buy into rallies. You are collecting, the theta, I guess, and some vega as well, to some extent, but that's the cost of having this kind of trade on, is that you're sort of collecting that theta in general, but you have to kind of stick handle the situation. So if we start heading down towards that 55.65, that's short gamma. So, but I would say that it's actually somewhat supportive, because I think that 5600 is a little bit of support. What happens is, as these deltas pick up, the market makers have to sell more deltas, sell more futures, but and that's technically an accelerant towards that level, but I think 5600 ends up being an okay level, and I don't think there isn't a ton of time left here. I think we've put in a bottom in the market for now. I think the VIX is telling us that people aren't too panicky, and so that gives me some feeling that there's a little bit of support here. So if they start selling futures over time, that's called a charm effect. As time goes on, the delta on these puts drops again, and guess what? The dealers are overhedged, so they have to start buying those futures back. So they're selling some futures up here as we approach the strike, but then over time, if nothing happens, if we don't truly get that crash through that level and towards those old lows, then it becomes supportive. So in a way, you kind of flip the idea on its head. Short gamma can sometimes be a little bit supportive in a way, if you kind of dig into the details, meaning if that charm effect plays out, because we don't have very many days left to the expiry of this particular put. In the strategy, they're gonna basically roll. They don't roll, but they're gonna roll it into the next period, the next 3-month period. It could become supportive. So that's kind of the interesting part of it. Negative gamma, in a way, can become supportive if there's enough of a bottom put in. If fear levels aren't too high, we certainly haven't seen skew explode. So general fear levels aren't high. So it kind of flips the idea of this short gamma position on its head a little bit, and we could see that if we don't indeed drop too far, it could be supportive as those futures have to come back. Now, I don't think they had to sell a ton of futures, but if things get a little bit worse today, they are going to have to. And then as long as we start finding that support at this 5600 level, and I've said that we can trade between 5600 and 5700, I think it could be supportive as charm effects basically reduce that delta to almost nothing, and these futures have to be bought back. So hope that helps you out a little bit. I'll be putting out the other 2 lessons on the JPM collar soon. We'll see you then.
Hey everyone, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, and be sure to download my free Options Cash Flow Blueprint, a step-by-step guide for how to go from complete beginner to Options Ninja. Now back to the video.